I just want to talk about the fight world. This video is like more so targeted towards black fighters in Japan. But hey, it might be helpful for any other fighters, any other foreigner fighters in Japan. But anyway, I'm just talking from a black guy's perspective on the fight world in Japan. More specifically, Kansai region and the Kanto region. I've never been anywhere else in terms of the fight scene in other places, but it might be similar. Who knows? Anyway, so I just want to go over a few things about what to look for in a good gym. Just some simple points. So I'm not a professional fighter. I'm still on the amateur route, but I had a couple of fights, a couple of amateur fights, and went with some pros. So I've been around a few gyms in the States and Florida and DC and Kansai and Kanto. But anyway, so some good things to look for a gym. One is make sure that the coach, it's a good coach there. It's a good teacher there. Maybe the coach isn't there. Try to go to the gym and find the gym schedule and make sure that the coach is coming on that day. Then take the Taiken on that day. That way you can see the coach. Make sure the coach isn't just some random bum off the street.
Here, the Buddhist Palm Manual of Training. It's priceless, but since this is fate, I can let you have it for $10.
You gave him all the money you had?
Yes. I had been saving it so I could become a surgeon or a lawyer one day.
Make sure he's not just some Zumba coach. He's, because some of these fight gyms, they're not even fight gyms. They're just like Zumba classes, dressed up like fight gyms, so, for stay-at-home moms. So, make sure you're actually going to a real gym. And check out the coach, too. Check out if he's got a record. Like, what's his fight record? Is he getting his behind whooped throughout his whole record? He might have a long record, but he might be getting his behind whooped throughout the whole record. You don't want to be taught by a guy like that. So, make sure he's a good guy. And when I say good, I mean like skill-wise. And make sure you actually see the coach. Don't just go on some random day and see one of his students that are teaching. Make sure you see the actual coach. What else? The gym, the students. Pay attention to not just the coach. Pay attention to the students as well. If you see a whole bunch of salarymen and stay-at-home moms, that's a bad sign, man. That's a bad sign. Now, this is going out to fighters. If you're just some fat guy trying to lose weight, man, go anywhere. It don't matter. Just go. But if you're a fighter, and you're trying to become professional, or you're trying to get some fight experience, you can't just go to any gym. If you want to go into the fight, the fight scene, then don't go to one of these I'm just trying to lose weight gyms. You gotta go to a gym where you see professional fighters, or at least a lot of amateur fighters who are trying to become professional. And it'll be great if the teacher, if he was still active as well. There's some gyms around here where the teacher, he's teaching and coaching, but he's also a professional fighter as well. So make sure the coach make sure the coach is good. Make sure he's not a bum off the street. Make sure the students there, they have some pretty good skill level. Make sure they have some pretty good skill level. And make sure some of them are professional. Make sure some of them are amateurs. They can't just be stay-at-home moms and salarymen, And so you got the coach, got that. And then, this might be a little bit difficult depending on your skill level. But if you have some experience, pay attention to not just the strong students, but also pay attention to the weak students as well. Because the weak students, they better reflect the coach's technique and teachings better than some of the professionals. Because some of the time, or maybe most of the time, professionals, they jump from gym to gym because some gyms might be good at stand-up only, some gyms might be good at wrestling, some gyms might be good at boxing, so sometimes professionals jump. So look at the weakest student. Most of the time, that weakest student, he's been at that gym and only that gym, so that way he reflects the teacher's teaching methods and the results of the teacher's methods perfectly. So that's what I look at when I come into a gym. I look at the coach, look at the skill level of all the students there, if there's any pros, any salarymen, and I look at the weakest students too, and see, try to look at the coach's his teachings. Are they really effective? So that's 3 things, and then we're starting to get to the critical stuff. Make sure it's a safe environment. You gotta make sure it's a safe environment. You got to, cause what's that? Let's say the coach is off the chain. Let's say the students, they're all off the chain. And let's say, there's a lot of professional fighters in there. The weakest student, even the weakest students, the white belts, if it's jiu-jitsu, the weakest students, even they're off the chain. But if the environment isn't friendly, and when I say friendly, isn't foreigner friendly, man, don't do it, man. Don't do it. I don't care if it's the best gym in the universe. It doesn't matter. If the environment isn't friendly, it doesn't make sense to go. It doesn't make sense to go. Because you're going to be struggling the whole time you're there. The whole time you're there. So, I'm not saying all of the gyms, but sometimes, some of these gyms will come across as not foreigner friendly, and it's easy to find out because they don't want you to join. They'd be like, sorry, ego dekinai desu, sumimasen, they won't give you a tour or anything like that. And but some gyms though, it's kind of harder to tell, and it becomes difficult to tell when you actually speak some Japanese. When you don't speak Japanese, it's easy, because most of the gyms that are xenophobic, they don't want your business, they don't want you there. And plus, most of those xenophobic gyms, they don't speak English. So the people who don't speak Japanese, it's good for them. For the people who do speak Japanese, it's a little bit more difficult because it's a little bit harder to get rid of you. So if you sense there's like a xenophobic vibe going on, then step away from that. Now, I've been in a situation at a couple of gyms where the gyms were great, technique was great, there were professional students in there, the coach, he was a professional fighter, and all this other jazz. I've been to a couple of gyms like that, and but the environment wasn't cool. The environment wasn't foreigner friendly, Now, in my situation, it was a little bit harder at first to realize, because there were other foreigners there at the time. Now, certain people can take more crap than others. Other people, not so keen on taking disrespect. Me, I'm old-fashioned. You respect me, I respect you. Mutual understanding. We're cool. But some people, man, So, anyway, it was this one coach guy. The guy was mad rude, man. Mad rude. I'm talking about like cursing, and sometimes the guy would hit you or something like that, or he would try to hit you, and talking all this ish and stuff, man. I was like, man, if this guy was in Washington D.C., man, he would have been effed up, man. He would have been effed up. He would have gotten jumped in the parking lot. He would have gotten man, in Florida, man, he would have gotten shot. He would have been jacked up, bro. He would have been jacked up. So, some of these coaches, they get off on some of this power. I don't want to say power hada, but they get off of their title or something like that. So you want to stay away from that. Sometimes it's not the coach. Sometimes it's the students. I was at this other gym. I think that the gym I just talked about was like in Kansai or something, but what was this other gym? I don't remember. But anyway, this other gym, the teacher was cool, but the students weren't cool. Now, in Japan, they have this thing called senpai and kohai, right? And I just got off. I was like, fresh American, just out of college, and I went in that gym. And the professional guys, they were mad young, man, mad young. I'm talking about maybe teenage years or something like that. And I was 20-something. So I looked at them like they were little kids. But the surrounding Japanese guys, they were like, the regular students, they were like 40-something or 30-something. These guys saying like yes sir and hey and all this other stuff to these little kids. I was like, yo man, like it's kind of strange, man. So there was the regular teacher, right? The regular teacher, he was like maybe 30-something. These other little kids, they're probably still doing homework, and I talked to them like they were little kids. I talked to the teacher like he was like yes sir and all this other jazz, but the little kids, I'm gonna treat you like a little kid. Sorry, man. Especially when I knew I can whoop them. If I can beat you up, I don't see why I gotta treat you like a senpai or something like that. Anyway, I was never rude with it though. I wasn't like omae or kisama or doite or doke omae. I didn't curse him out or anything like that, or I didn't degrade him. I just talked to them like we were on the same level, or just casual Japanese, pretty much. But when the real sensei came, I used, polite Japanese. Anyway, just by that pissed him off enough to, start trash talking me and, behind my back, or going a little bit more rougher in sparring than what's called for. Just a whole bunch of just some, some punk stuff, just, acting like punk bitches, pretty much, acting like a punk pretty much, man. And, when you're like a big, strong, fast, talented guy, and you're in the gym where you might be better than most of the guys there, you're going to be a threat to that hierarchy system. Instantly. As soon as you walk in the door, the guy is going to challenge you. As soon as you walk in the door. And when the guy can't beat you, he's going to take that ish personally, because his kohai is going to be watching like, oh, well, senpai just got his ass whooped by the big black man. And like, yo, you're not even trying to prove anything, man. You're just trying to train. Anyway, so I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, right. So if you find yourself in these situations where the coach is acting unprofessional or being rude or disrespectful, or the students are acting unprofessional or disrespectful, then don't just grin and bear it. Leave, man. Just leave. Don't grin and bear it. Don't stand your ground or any of this other BS, man. Just leave. Now, if they got you cornered in the basement somewhere, and they got the dukes up and a whole bunch of weapons and stuff, man, okay, fight, man. Fight to the finish. But, if it's just a regular situation and you can still leave on, voluntarily and everything, dude, just on like a calm day when people aren't there or even that day, just quit. Just ask for the papers to quit. Say business came up or some other BS excuse and just split, man, because let's say you grin and bear it and, you try to, stand your ground, all this other crap. If you're a fighter, then that means you have a fight mentality. And if you have a fight mentality, that means you have a threshold for disrespect. Eventually, all that disrespect and trash talking is going to get to you, and maybe you might have a bad day. On that bad day, I'm telling you, man, you're going to snap. And when you snap, man, it's going to be bad.
You want to follow me? Okay. Cockroaches. Come on. You want to play games? Okay. I'll play with you. Come on. Okay. Do you want to play rough? Okay. Uno. Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that situation in that Bruce Lee movie. What was it? Fist of Fury, when Bruce Lee was surrounded by all those dudes, and he was like, "Hey man, I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to your sensei." And then he had to beat his way through everybody, man. Don't be that guy. It looks cool to whoop everybody in the dojo, but you got to think about it. So let's just think about it, right? Even if you whoop everybody in the dojo, including the teacher, you got to be gangster to do this. Let's just say somehow you whooped everybody in the dojo, including the teacher. You still got to deal with the police, okay? You still got to deal with the police afterwards. It's not just like you KO everybody and then you walk off into the sunset. Dude, the police are going to be after you, man. You're going to be a fugitive. And, when the cops find out that you whooped all these martial arts guys, the cops are going to be coming like this guy. Because the cops, they're not training like, the fighter guys are, man. So they come with tasers and guns and all types of shit, So, dude, if you're feeling the environment is negative or they're starting to act like bullies or something like that, just leave the gym, man. It's not worth fighting everybody. It's not worth fighting the teacher. It's not worth cursing them out in front of everybody. It's not worth fighting the students. It's not worth it. I know, like, you might feel like you're trying to prove a point or, you gotta like have some type of backlash. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth getting arrested. It's not worth getting deported, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. So okay, so it's make sure it's a good coach. It's not some bum off the street. Make sure the student skill levels are good, even the weaker ones. Make sure it's a friendly environment. And on that friendly environment tip, make sure you use te nego or polite form with everybody in the gym. Do it with everybody in the gym. I don't care if they're starting to act like a friend to you. F that. Just use des and mas for everybody. Des and mas for everybody. The secretary, of course, the coach, the fighters that you can whoop their behind. Still use des and mas, man. Still use des and mas. Now, if they're like little kids or something, like 5 or 7, okay. Casual's okay. But, you know, if you can spar with the guy, if he's in the same class with you, you have to use decimas. That would help you avoid so much trouble. So much trouble. So you use decimas. And here's another little tidbit. So, the flags, yeah, I think you guys know, those Confederate flags in the States, you know, hillbillies, you know, Dukes of Hazzards, all that crap. Now, you know, those flags, they got similar flags like that in Japan. Now, if you know your history, and you see that flag, you know the flag I'm talking about. Just be cautious about that. Just be cautious, be on guard. I'm not saying that gym, when you see that flag, it equates, okay, this gym is trash. You know, because some good gyms have that thing, you know, have that flag there. But, you know, just be on guard. Just be on guard because, you know, that flag means a lot. And that flag represents a certain mentality. And usually that mentality isn't, you know, isn't in your favor. Let's just put it that way. Isn't in your favor. You know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, do some history. You'll know what I'm talking about. So, you know, watch out for that, man. That. And I guess the best thing for you to do once you've done all that is just study and learn and make friends with all of the people in the gym. Make friends and talk and build rapport with everybody. Because if some crap does go down, you know what I'm saying? If some crap does go down, then at least you already have a lot of support from other fighters where that one person can't attack you directly. I was in a situation where this guy was acting like an a-hole, but you know, I got some support from this guy, from that guy, from that guy. The guy couldn't really come at me like that. You know what I'm saying? And even if he did come at me like that, it wouldn't be too good for him because I have support from all the other fighters that I built rapport with over the years and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'll try to do a better video. Next time. But anyway, just some points or some tips that I thought might be helpful for some black fighters out there in Japan, or some other foreigner fighters out there in Japan. Oh man, okay, this is one more thing. If you're trying to go pro, man, and you're probably like, you know, you're a big guy like 6'1" or something like that, it's a really good chance they're just gonna say off the gate, you can go pro immediately, or they're gonna say some BS like, there's no one on the island your size, and you have no choice but to go pro. You're never gonna find anyone your size or your weight. Never. That's BS. That's BS. I can't count on my hands how many times the coaches or guys at the gym will tell me, you have no choice. You gotta go pro because there's nobody your weight or anything like that. Dude, there are definitely big dudes out there in Japan. I've seen them a whole bunch of times. And I fought big guys in Japan too. Now, I'm not saying they're as frequent as in the States, but they are out there. Now, if you want to, you know, hurry up and speed the process up, I suggest you lose enough weight until you can get some amateur fights, so you can build up your experience until you do feel comfortable enough to become professional. That's what I'm doing right now, actually. So I'm trying to cut weight so I can get a whole bunch of amateur fights, feel comfortable enough, then I'm gonna go pro. I can go pro now if I wanted, but that's stupid because I'll get jacked up. You know, amateur and professional, really big, two different worlds, man. So, you know, don't listen to them, man, when they say go pro immediately, or, you know, oh, you're a big, strong black guy, you know, you can go pro whenever you want, you defeat them, you know. Screw that, man. It's all about technique. It's all about technique. So many guys complain about size and power and strength and all that stuff. That's just them man. That's just them barking like a dog. It just means their technique is weak as their technique is mad weak and they can't do shit. That's what that means. If your technique is strong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big the guy is, how fast the guy is, how young the guy is. If your technique is strong and good, you're good, man. You're good. You can take them down. You know what I'm saying? But lose the weight. Do not go pro immediately. Try to lose the weight as much as you can without killing yourself. And get those amateur fights. Get at least. It depends on what martial arts you're doing, you know, what style or, you know, whatever field you're doing, but get at least 10 at a minimum. 10 amateur fights. You know, 10 amateur fights, you know. And if you can do some high-level amateur fights, that'll be off the chain. Don't just fight these guys that just learned how to throw a punch, because that doesn't mean anything. Do these amateur fights where they've been training for a little bit, they know what they're doing. Those fights count. And amateur fights that have multiple rounds, so you know, can be like a simulation for like the real thing. Anyway, that's all I can think of right now. Yeah, that's all. Oh, another thing. Last thing. If the teacher or sensei is there, do not go 100. Of course, you never go 100%. You never go 100% in sparring. But you know, you can still get a little bit rough in sparring. When you're sparring the teacher, if there's an opportunity where you could beat him, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, because you're gonna make him look bad in front of everybody, and he's gonna take that personally. I think it's BS, but that's just how it is. That's just how it is. He's the teacher of the whole class. I mean, if you think about it, really anywhere, if he's the teacher or the alpha leader of the whole wolf pack or the class or whatever, and this one guy out of nowhere whoops his behind, you're dissing him and everybody in there. So just don't spar with the teacher, or if you are gonna spar with him is okay, but don't rough him up. Just sometimes I spar with the teacher if he's young enough and his ego is realistic. He doesn't have like this I'm a god type of thing. But if I sense that his ego is sensitive, or he's one of those like really traditional guys, like I just kind of avoid that guy and just go rough with all the other guys or spar with all the other guys. So be wary on that. Be aware of that. And yeah, man. Let me know if there's some things that I missed, or some things I said that doesn't make any sense and you want me to explain a little bit further. And if I get any more information on my path to becoming a professional fighter, then I'll add it. I'll add another video. So yeah, man. Yeah.